Hello, friends and valued clients and fellow comrades in the fight against aging. I'm Jake Mazzone, Investment Advisor and Director of Retirement Portfolio Management. I formed a small investment firm after the stock market crash of 2008 and 2009 to provide existing clients and new clients with alternatives to traditional investments and protection from potential bank failure. With this series of YouTube broadcasts, I'm committing to my personal goal of providing free advice to clients and friends about living longer, retiring richer, and taking key investment advantages during specific developments in the economic cycle. Although most of what I discuss pertains to existing clients, my advice will also apply to prospective clients that may eventually want to take advantage of the unique combination of services and advice I offer while managing retirement savings accounts. My hope is to enrich the life of any viewer, regardless of a relationship we may or may not have. As a brief introduction, I've designed this inaugural video to my investment management practice as a way of getting in front of several clients that I do not regularly get a chance to visit with. At the present time, I'm managing just over 100 accounts and about 75 households. Many of you suffer from the disease states I'm about to mention today. As your financial planner and life coach, I sincerely feel that the following advice I'm about to give will prolong your life and in some cases reverse cardiovascular and other degenerative diseases like arthritis, maybe even cancer. The findings I'm about to present come from research of several great physicians, surgeons, physiologists, internists, and research scientists. Some findings are from my personal experience, great coaches, and also a few Olympic track runners. It's therefore my interpretation of these clinical reports mixed with my own research that I feel obligated to share with you today. There has never been a comprehensive presentation of these fountain of youth findings published in print or in video, so I hope you appreciate the multitude of hours that have gone into this video, so you can pass from being barely educated on nutrition and health to being fully knowledgeable about 9 factors needed for great longevity, perfect health, and amazing vitality well into your 90s and beyond. No price tag can be placed on that type of gift. So if you're grateful for a presentation that may possibly save your life, I'll put up a slide at the end with my company, website information, or contact information. It's very possible that you'll find that I'd be a good match and a financial counselor over your retirement account or your 401k. But if you're a physician, even an oncologist, you may want to turn this video off now, because you might get offended that much of what I discuss is in direct opposition to what you believe to be true or to what you prescribe patients. Lastly, I must share with you that the advice I give in this presentation is in no way a green light for you to discontinue any medication you're taking or therapy you're being prescribed by a clinician. What my deepest hope is that you will implement each of these 9 factors thoroughly and permanently. You will present yourselves back to the clinician with a reversal of symptoms and a healing of condition, even cancer. Yes, I said that. No doctor in their right mind will want to continue to give you pharmaceutical drugs if you have that kind of evidence when you return to them with miracles in your vital signs, blood tests, and MRI results. This is a permanent program, not a quick fix. So temporarily following these recommendations will only heal you or help you temporarily. Going off them will lead to a relapse if you have a serious condition. Although not extremely easy, this is not too difficult either. It takes time and effort to reverse the aging process. There is no magic pill for it, but the findings are in and conclusive that it is currently being done. Don't be like most lazy Americans and look for alternatives to being the strongest, youngest, and most vibrant person possible. If you're one of those people that say, "Why would I want to live to be 100?" then carefully review the later section of this video, and I'll give you a few reasons. The first longevity and disease healing element I'd like to discuss with you is vigorous exercise. My advice on vigorous exercise comes from literally thousands of clinical reports on this subject and how it relates to reversing aging and disease. Although I mentioned vigorous, if you have a debilitating condition or a heart issue, it's best to start off with quite a bit of restraint and moderation. For those of you that are ambulatory and able to walk a lot, I'm suggesting daily jogging mixed with walking. We want to eventually reduce most of the walking element and add the running element. Vigorous exercise also relates to pulse rate or heart rate during exercise. Most experts conclude that your heart rate needs to be above 130 beats per minute for a minimum of 30 minutes to achieve the maximum cardiovascular benefit. The only other exercises that can get close to the benefits of running are the following: intense bike riding, and that doesn't mean a casual bike ride for 10 minutes around the block. Intense boat rowing, full court basketball, which is running plus throwing, and also long distance swimming. Now, running can be replaced in a gym by the use of an elliptical cross training machine, a stair climber, or a rowing machine. The best way to test your pulse rate during a workout is the 30-by-2 method. That's done by finding one of your major arteries in your heart or your neck area, pressing 2 fingers against it, and when you feel the pulse, start a stopwatch for 30 seconds, then multiply by 2. This will let you know how close you are to 130 BPMs. Through daily vigorous exercise, I said daily, and outstanding nutrition over the past several years, which we will soon discuss, I've personally been able to reverse my physiological age to approximately half of what my chronological age is. Exercise and superfood consumption has greatly enhanced my fitness level and has greatly enhanced how I look and feel. 3 years ago, I was unable to run long distances with younger athletes competitively, but now I coach and run with a group of men ranging from ages 18 to 27. And most of the time I complete the workouts and races faster than almost every single athlete that I coach. I have set Nevada State distance running records for my age category in 3 events so far this year, and have my sights set on breaking the National Senior Olympics record this upcoming fall. So enough about me. Let's take a look at some of the nutritional information that will be important for you moving forward. Achieving homeostasis means physiological internal stability within our system, and it is greatly enhanced by consuming foods and beverages that are alkaline based and not acid based. In other areas of this presentation, I'll mention to you what to eat and some of the best raw foods that help with this internal stability. But for now, I'd like to give you a brief list of common foods that cause an acidic environment in your body, which is the only environment where cancer cells live and thrive. We need to avoid acidic environments in our body at all times. So one of the hardest food areas for folks to avoid is dairy products, even cheese, because of how advertisements have labeled them as so rich and beneficial in calcium. All dairy products cause acidosis, which reduces bone mass, and obviously not how dairy products are advertised. Got milk? Needs to be changed to want acid eating your bones? Every single dairy product, except yogurt, actually decays bone health, negating the absorption of calcium. By the way, calcium is found in many raw vegetables, not just dairy products, and that's the only way to consume it because it's how the intake can be alkaline based. You also need to avoid eating all forms of starch and sugar. They are acidic as well. Baked or boiled potatoes that are without butter and sour cream are okay. Additional foods to avoid include any baked products, even bread, also pasta and white rice, all of which turn to sugar when they're metabolized. Don't eat chocolate, cake products, pies, and candies. Avoid almost every soft drink made that is carbonated and almost all bottled juices. Both are loaded with detrimental sugar. You can add coffee to the list of acidic beverages. Speaking of coffee, any form of artificial sweetener is a laboratory experiment that is subtly dangerous. In particular, run far away from sucralose and aspartame. In my opinion, they are legalized poisons that were part of an FDA approval process that has cover-up written all over it. One of the original researchers, for example, that discovered aspartame, which is found in many food products and fake sugar substitutes, lost his job when he began to find it was causing brain lesions in test subjects. Engineered in a laboratory, both aspartame and MSG, or monosodium glutamate, are known as excitotoxins, which may lead to excitotoxicity. That means nerve cells are damaged and killed by excessive stimulation of neurotransmitters. Glutamates and genetically created sweeteners such as sucralose, aspartate, aspartame cause this neurological corrosion. Incidentally, scientists also engineered MSG to turn the switch off in your brain that says, "I am full." So, two beverages that have proven to be effective in adding alkalinity back into your system are: 1. Fresh squeezed lemon juice water, which is best prepared by squeezing about 1 lemon per 12 ounces of purified water using a simple juicer like this. Another great way to add alkalinity to your system is through consuming Evian drinking water. It's moderately expensive, but it is truly the only bottled water sold anywhere with a pH close to 8. I've done personal research and have tested many bottled waters, even those with labels that say alkaline water. All test with a pH below 7. You can do your own research because much data is available on the internet and in print in this subject. Please keep in mind that although raw lemon juice is acidic if tested with a pH strip like this pH testing tape, it's not acidic once it hits the body's metabolic system. It's amazingly transformed into a pure alkaline beverage through a mineral process called potassium sodium alkalinization. Testing your saliva will not tell you if your system is running acidic. You will automatically know this if you're eating the excluded foods I mentioned above. But if you're an analytical type like me, one of the best ways you'll know that your system is becoming more alkaline based and removing acids is how your diluted lemon water tastes. If it tastes highly tart or sour, it means your system is acid based. If it barely tastes sour and is somewhat enjoyable to drink, then you're running on an alkaline system. By the way, making lemonade and adding sugar to the lemon water will surely negate any benefits and turn the beverage back into an acid-based one. As an introduction to the types of foods that will reverse aging and heal disease, it's important to know what not to eat. We want to exclude all refined foods, packaged foods, processed, and animal-based foods like meats from our palate. Also, most cooked foods, even foods like vegetable casserole, experts have found that if more than 51% of any given meal is cooked, it throws the body into leukocytosis. This means that the cooked food falsely tricks your body into sending out excessive amounts of white blood cells to fight off infection or inflammation. Exceptions to the rule include cooked kale, cooked collard greens, turnip greens, or bok choy. Those should be steamed or lightly sautéed in olive oil, but no salt. And another exception is enjoying your own homemade organic vegetable soup, not from a can and not with salt added. The problem is if you're constantly eating cooked foods, even if they're apparently healthy ones like almonds or say cooked yams, then when white blood cells are needed because of a real threat, such as infection or injury, well, there's not enough of them to go around and begin the healing process. It's either slowed down or it doesn't occur at all unless there's a drastic change in food intake or intake of pharmaceutical medications, in essence, chemical intake, which is almost always toxic to the system. You see, food can either be your poison or your medicine or even your fountain of youth. So guard what you put in your mouth. Adopt what we are calling a whole foods plant-based diet. This consists of raw vegetables, raw fruits, seeds, and grains. Every single legitimate medical research study on longevity concludes that consuming raw food is the essential way to lower your mortality rate and lengthen lifespan. Organic plants, fruits, and vegetables also expand in the stomach more than oils and meats. That means you feel fuller and eat less. One study found that eating meats, heavy proteins, and oils as the majority of your meal tricks your brain into believing that it's not full when it actually is. For example, if you eat 10 ounces of fruit and vegetables versus 10 ounces of meat and bread, your brain says stop after you've taken in that much plant-based food. But on the other side of that coin, your mind tells your body that it's only about half full on the meat and the protein, so you end up eating 10 ounces more. It's obvious to see why it's very hard to find an overweight vegetarian. Raw vegetables, grains, and foods just don't get anyone fat unless you're a glutton. Eating raw life creates life. Eating death creates death. Nutrients found in raw plant cells are what provide age-reversing properties, particularly the cellular enzymes and the mitochondria. These, coupled with other nutrients found in fruits and vegetables, such as their particular vitamin content, is exactly what regenerates sick tissues by empowering the immune system to do its job, that is, to heal itself. You know, every single month, some health magazine or wizard physician is claiming they've discovered another superfood from a berry located a million miles away. I don't want to get into all that right now or the validity of it all, but would like to briefly review just 5 superfoods that are mandatory for consumption if you're seeking the fountain of youth. Those are kale and collards, glutathione, spirulina, black grapes or blueberries, and bee pollen. Kale is the ultimate green vegetable and measures 1,000 on the ANDI scale. ANDI means Aggregate Nutritional Density Index. You can look that up. It's right up there with collard greens. In other words, you just can't get much more nutritious than this incredible edible green. Kale and collard greens, they're high in iron and antioxidants of vitamin C, vitamin K, and A. It's also filled with carotenoids and flavonoids that help protect against various cancer cells. By the way, mustard greens and turnip greens also have a perfect score of 1,000 on the ANDI scale. As you know, raw is always better than cooked with regards to maximal health benefits. I've personally found kale slightly bitter when cooked, but if it's cut up in a salad, that's not the case. Collard greens, in my opinion, are best sautéed in olive oil, but also great when placed in a juice machine with a sweet fruit like apple to enhance the flavor. The cholesterol-lowering ability of collard greens may be the greatest of all commonly eaten cruciferous vegetables. Often overlooked as a superfood is glutathione and its helpmate known as alpha-lipoic acid. Although more of a supplement, I need to include this in this section for several reasons. It's called the master antioxidant, and it is revered because of its amazing power over free radicals. Free radicals are unstable molecules in our body that cause damage to our tissues and organs because of their erratic behavior. Certain levels of glutathione occur naturally in our cells and liver and are stored in our muscles. Low levels of glutathione, however, are a harbinger for disease and premature death. Glutathione is probably nutrition's greatest defense against the battle of aging and loss of vitality. Milk thistle and cumin are good sources of it, but the highest sources of it can be found in asparagus, bell peppers, garlic, onions, and grapefruit. Spirulina is similar to sea vegetables such as kelp or seaweed. It's a member of the blue-green algae family, but it's not truly an algae. It contains chlorophyll and uses the sun as energy and a growing source. One of the special traits of spirulina is its rich protein content. It's 50 to 70% protein by weight and contains all the essential amino acids. As a comparison, red meat is only 20 to 22% protein by weight. Wild spirulina grows in alkaline lakes, which is in perfect alignment with what we discussed previously regarding alkaline foods. Along with protein and aminos, the list of major nutrients it contains clearly makes it one of the best, if not the best, superfoods on planet Earth. Here are only 1/2 of the nutrients contained in spirulina: vitamins K and B12, calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, and chlorophyll. Did I mention amino acids? Well, there are 18 of them in this amazing superfood. I personally add bulk spirulina powder, which is the only way of buying it other than in capsule, to a blender that I fill with freshly made juice from a non-centrifuge juicer. I'll go into that later on when I discuss a few revolutionary physicians and the Gerson therapy. New research demonstrates that blueberries improve your memory, and one study indicates that it may reduce risk factors for obese men and women. Either way, blueberries are filled with vitamin C, the trace minerals manganese, vitamin K, and fiber, not to mention the super antioxidant resveratrol. Speaking of this amazing antioxidant, it's also found in very small quantities in wine, which I don't recommend drinking at all. So see my section on alcohol for a full explanation of that later on. But resveratrol is found in larger quantities by eating purple Concord grapes, such as what you would find in Welch's 100% Concord grape juice, or by eating what is called black grapes, usually grown and imported from South America. Resveratrol found in grapes and blueberries also inhibits a number of anti-inflammatory producing biochemicals. That was a picture of granulated bee pollen. First of all, honey, although a highly beneficial food source, is not bee pollen. Bee pollen is made by honeybees, however, and is the food of the young bee. It is considered one of nature's most completely nourishing foods, as it contains nearly all nutrients required by humans. Bee gathering pollens are rich in proteins, approximately 40% protein by weight. Also vitamins, including B complex and folic acid. Bee pollen is more rich in proteins than any animal source. It contains more amino acids than beef, eggs, or cheese of equal weight. It's not found in any foods because it's its own food source. It's best purchased in bulk granulated form which looks like small greenish beige colored pebbles or granules, or you can buy it in a capsule form as a supplement. If you choose to buy the caps, I recommend vegetarian capsules and not gelatin cellulose capsules, which are protein based or which are processed from animal protein. I'd like to preface this section of the video to let you know I have a much more elaborate 10-minute long presentation on this subject in one of the other videos that I produced. I'll put up a link to that video right now as we begin to think about this crucial subject and how it relates to aging and disease. Okay, so let's talk more about drinking alcohol or smoking. Alcohol and marijuana decrease protein synthesis for muscle fiber repair. This includes beer and supposedly beneficial wine. Tissue loss occurs. Smoking and drinking alcohol negatively affect heart, lungs, and muscle performance, even one single drink. Alcohol, marijuana, and tobacco reduce the immune system's efficiency. People who party get sick more often. Alcohol disturbs the REM time, which reduces the CNS's restorative recovery ability. Even one drink of beer or a harmless cocktail limits the blood's ability to carry oxygen while placing a strain on the liver's ability to detoxify your system. Alcohol and anything you smoke, even the new craze of smokeless pipes, is a metabolic poison that crosses all brain barriers or blood barriers and affects all systems of the human physiology simultaneously. Even small intake reduces the benefits achieved through good nutrition and exercise. If you want to live long and keep cancer and other diseases far away, then stop drinking alcohol the second that you hear this message. You know, obviously we live in a hedonistic and narcissistic society that vainly seeks to gratify itself with pleasure. Alcohol, pot, and booze fit perfectly into this delusion. Folks induce these poisons to get high, but physiologically, what they're doing is altering the body's naturally occurring dopamine. This hormone and neurotransmitter is another essential element for our system to be properly balanced. Getting high or drinking leads to an eventual malfunction of the neurotransmitter element of dopamine, which may very possibly be the key reason for most psychiatric problems that we have in this country, such as severe depression, Parkinson's disease, and even schizophrenia. Being in love, gift giving, and caring for others like family and pets is the only way to healthily enjoy a mildly altered dopamine level. Praising God, in my opinion, is the best way to be high from a bit of dopamine. You see, there is no high like the Most High. Okay, let's talk about sleeping. This key to longevity and health is probably close to being the most overlooked, yet the most beneficial. Most people understand how important sleep is, but refuse to abide by the natural laws of science because getting up early and going to bed late has been ingrained into American lifestyles. It's during the sleeping hours that the body repairs organs and tissues from the damage of living in a relatively toxic environment. From the air we breathe to the detergents we use, all the way to the radio waves we are bombarded with, sleep becomes essential as the body's method of restoration to homeostasis, again meaning a balanced system. Those people out there that ignore the rule that I'm about to share are more likely to get sick and live fewer years. Lack of sufficient rest works hand in hand with stress, which we'll talk about in a moment as a silent killer. You can make all the excuses in the world for not sleeping the right amount of hours, but you are negating much of the other factors of reversing the aging process if you ignore this factor. Exactly how much sleep we should get has been debated by healthcare experts for years, but I'm going to sum it all up and all the squabbling by mentioning a single number, and that is the rule of 10. Pediatricians the world over will tell parents that their little ones need about 10 to 11 hours of sleep during many crucial years of growth, even teenage years. But adults are no different. We experience the same stress levels as kids, even more so, whether you have an outdoor manual labor job or an inside desk job. There is a plethora of negative impacts hitting you daily, some invisible that need to be washed out during REM restorative sleep. Again, about 9 to 10 hours of it for adults. Melatonin, which is the naturally occurring hormone that regulates sleep and wake cycles, has to be released properly, or getting to sleep and staying that way becomes difficult. I'd like to describe to you a couple of guidelines that will virtually ensure your body begins releasing this essential sleep hormone, which incidentally is beneficial in improving blood cholesterol levels. This is important, so listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you is the best proven way to prepare for restful sleep. About 60 minutes before going to sleep, it's essential to completely remove all distractions that include a light source. First of all, a computer or a television should never be in the bedroom. If you have one in there, move it to another room. By removing a light source, I mean stop watching anything that is on an illuminated screen. Light kills melatonin production. 45 minutes before going to bed, begin turning lights down or off. This is when you want to get your nighttime hygiene taken care of, whether that means showering or dental care or whatever. You shouldn't be in a car 45 minutes before going to sleep, nor away from home or hotel room if you're on vacation, or in anyone else's home, not even in a business. All of which are sources of light that are potential stress and will keep melatonin from beginning its job. About 40 to 45 minutes before bed is the time when you need to be having quiet, non-stressful conversation with those around you. But better yet, let's have a time of reading or maybe prayer. Have your last conversation about 20 minutes before turning off the lights, and also finish your last bit of reading. The final 15 minutes should be spent with lights out as you review the day's events in your head and give thanks for what you have, such as the soft pillow under your head. I'd be doing you a disservice if I mentioned a dark room and restful sleep without mentioning what comes in the morning, particularly the sunlight. Eating great raw foods, getting the right type of sleep, and exercising are all essential elements and factors to reversing the aging process. But if you exercise indoors, then you're missing the key element of sunlight, not man-made lights. God created man to be outdoors, not indoors, and has given us the ability to adapt to long periods of time outdoors on a daily basis. It's very sad for me to see individuals living a somewhat healthy life with nutrition, maybe even exercise, but completely neglecting sunlight hitting their skin daily. Everyone has their excuse, whether it's the hot ultraviolet rays, cold weather, or not enough time in the day. But no matter how you excuse it or slice it, spending time indoors and away from the sun will lead to many health abnormalities. 3 of the biggest ones are brittle bones or osteoporosis and a vitamin D deficiency, even for those that take vitamin D supplements. Lack of sunlight has been one of the key findings in tuberculosis patients and most cancer patients as well. Nothing, not even vitamin supplements, replaces the natural way that vitamin D is created when it touches the skin. But it's not only the vitamin D that the sun creates, but its invisible benefits derived from minor solar radiation. There is even a psoriasis therapy that is based on solar radiation or sunlight therapy. It's important for you to remember that solar radiation is not anything like nuclear radiation. It's a health radiant, not a harmful radioactive fallout. How much sun is okay, and is sunscreen always necessary? Most of your sunlight should be taken in the morning. I recommend 25 uninterrupted minutes of direct sunlight daily as a minimum. Wearing a hat reduces the benefits, and covering your arms with long sleeves and wearing sunscreen greatly reduces the benefit. If you're doing all that, you're removing the sun from hitting your skin, and all you're getting is fresh air. In my opinion, sunscreen is only needed in the afternoon, or say after 11 a.m., and only if you're in the direct sunlight for over a half hour. Therefore, if you know that you'll be in the sun for a sporting event or a longer period of time, my suggestion is that you wait until you've received your 25-minute long sun bath, then apply your marvelous sun blocker or screen. I'm sure 98% of everyone viewing this does not know that the cure for cancer was actually found in 1928 by a German doctor named Max Gerson. At the time, the medical community of his day completely discounted his hundreds of documented cures as inaccurate, incomplete, and adulterated. Being that it's against the law in most countries, even the US, to prescribe nutrition or holistic approaches to cure cancer patients, such as what Dr. Gerson did, all that is permitted for physicians to prescribe is chemotherapy, surgery, or radiation, all of which are only half as effective as holistic approaches perfected by Gerson and other modern-day physicians like Hoshino, Campbell, and Edelston. Through the use of whole raw foods and accompanying procedures that are non-surgical and without chemicals or radiation, Dr. Max Gerson literally discovered that he could shrink and remove cancer cells from sick patients, many of which were diagnosed with only a few months to live. Doctors Ornish, Campbell, and Edelston did research on diet that was totally vegetable, fruit, and fiber-based, and how it affected patients with cancer and various degenerative diseases such as atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries. And they too found dramatic cures. They were actually able to see through MRI results that the arterial plaque was being eliminated by these raw fruits and vegetables that they were prescribing. The lumen, or space within the arterial wall, showed dramatic cholesterol plaque removal and free blood flow again for patients that were previously on the verge of getting a massive stroke. You can read more about the full range of nutritional raw foods and natural made juice that cures many illnesses by getting the Gerson Therapy book. Today, this therapy lives on for cancer patients because of the ongoing work by Charlotte Gerson and the Gerson Institute in Baja California. By the way, Charlotte Gerson is the director of the Institute, which is actually a cancer patient hospital. She practices the vegetarian diet launched by her dad about 85 years ago and is now in her late 80s. You've never seen a more vibrant or active woman carrying that many years if you see footage of her. You'd guess her in about her mid-60s. Charlotte daily promotes the nutritional impact of health that a correct diet delivers and is a huge proponent of juicing vegetables and fruits in juice machines that are extremely efficient at extracting every ounce of nutrition from the pulp. These again are non-centrifuge types of juicers, and you'll need to get one. I've found that they are only available through online shopping, not at your local department stores. The recommended one of the least expense that I've found that has a lifetime warranty is called the Champion 2000. This machine is about $300, but other brands can go all the way up to $1,800 or more. If you're not a cancer patient or someone with a serious illness, the Champion juicer will be sufficient, helping you get your immune system back in order again like when you were in your teens. Keep in mind that the media, food, and drug companies and some physicians don't want you to know about using natural and specific fruits, grains, and vegetables to cure serious illness. The obvious answer is because doctors, packaged food companies, and pharmaceutical firms will slowly start to go out of business if everyone changed their diets drastically. That is, removed cooked foods, animal-based foods, meats, salts, sugars, and dairy products. What is sad to note is that in 1971, President Nixon declared a war on cancer and made available government funds for quite a bit of research. 40 plus years later, here are the dismal results. Findings for both men and women have been combined. Mortality rates for cancer have only dropped a mere 8.5% over that period of time. Incidence of all forms of cancer have barely dropped, possibly 2%, but some researchers say it's less than 1% of a drop because of how much the population has grown. It's estimated that for both men and women past the age of 50, there are microscopic cancer cells present in the body. Most of them are dormant, but nonetheless present and waiting for a reason to proliferate. Cancer can be triggered from a poor diet, an infection, lack of exercise, lack of sunlight, or any of the other factors previously discussed, even stress, which I'm about to discuss soon. GMOs, or genetically modified foods such as MSG, are also closely related to cancer cell growth. To further explain, medical scientists say that cancer starts with genes that are encouraged to produce the bad cells. Sometimes this occurs simply by consuming the nutrients inside animal foods, packaged foods, and processed sugars, one of the prime candidates being high fructose corn syrup, also known as HFCS, all of which knock our metabolism out of sync by turning it acidic. Again, cancer cells only breed in an acidic environment, not alkalinity. It's important to understand that to heal cancer, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, or many other degenerative diseases such as those resulting from diabetes, the approach should always be a patient-centered rather than disease-centered medical practice. The patient-centered method, however, is truly the only one found to be paramount in efficacy because it centers on everything that can possibly be done to improve the health of the individual so that their own immune system can take charge against fighting off the source of any health problem. Although I'm not a healthcare clinician, in this video I've given you the antidote for healing yourself from something even as severe as cancer. Therefore, you are now the recipient of a patient-centered health approach. I'd highly suggest you begin following it to avoid something that can be triggered later on or reverse a condition you knowingly or unknowingly currently have. The tissues of our body and our organs can not only become inflamed through injury and disease, but also through everyday life and the stresses it brings. Part of the age-reversing process is to know more about self-prescribing antioxidants and natural anti-inflammatory foods. Specific foods and their accompanying nutritional supplements greatly help if one's diet is incomplete. Now, 95% of Americans have incomplete nutrition, so that probably includes you. And unlike medicine like aspirin and ibuprofen, anti-inflammatory foods work without causing stomach ulcers and side effects. Here are top choices for everyone looking to stay young and feel strong and even get healthier. Again, almost everything I'm discussing can come from the diet I've previously described, but they are also readily available in supplements. Okay, omega-3. Chia seeds, walnuts, and fish oil are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which decrease the body's production of a long list of pro-inflammatory biochemicals. They also help reduce in pain and stiffness. Chia, by the way, has more omega-3s than flax seeds. These little black seeds contain fiber, calcium, iron, copper, magnesium, zinc, and much more. The nice thing about these seeds is that you don't have to grind them up to get the same benefit as you would from a flax seed. Ginger. Certain elements of ginger, called gingerols, have a strong inflammatory effect. It's best eaten sliced up directly from the root and cooked moderately, possibly with your vegetables. Flaxseed oil. Flax seeds seem to especially target inflammation disease of the skin and soft tissue. They can be purchased in a seed form, in oil form by the bottle, or in a supplement. ALA, alpha lipoic acid, is a coenzyme that has anti-inflammatory protection. It can regenerate other important antioxidants like vitamin E, C, and glutathione. It can also be taken together with the miracle vitamin coenzyme Q10 for a synergistic effect. It's been concluded by the majority of psychiatric experts that 85% of what people worry about never happens, and the other 15% occurs at lesser of an extreme than originally imagined. I'm under the impression that if I'm a true believer in God, then I don't need to worry about anything, because 100% of what happens to me is what God wants me to experience anyway. There are no accidents or coincidences in the life of a believer. Therefore, there is little, if any, reason to worry, unless I'm actually doing wrong or seeking to hurt. If you lack faith or spirituality, then I have some other advice for you. Instead of living in worry or fear, stressing about what will happen next, you may want to change "why me" to "oh well, so what? The worst thing that can happen is that I have to pay the price." Or maybe, even if you're faced with a severe health crisis, it's certain you'll worry and the condition can worsen. So instead of saying, "what am I going to do?" tell yourself, "why not me? What doesn't kill me will make me stronger. If it kills me, I'll get the greatest nap ever." I used to look like that when I worked for Morgan Stanley. Fear, worry, stress, and unforgiveness lead to the release of adrenaline or epinephrine, and too much regularity of this hormone release is corrosive to the system. Hating someone, being stuck in traffic, an upcoming public speaking presentation, being micromanaged by a tyrant of a boss are all examples of situations that can lead to the release of this corrosive hormone. Long life is directly related to stress levels. One of the main reasons is that the immune system begins to shut down or become impaired when someone lives with stress and can't find ways of properly dealing with it. It can lead to autoimmune diseases, which are diseases that arise from the body's defenses attacking itself. Ulcers are prime examples. Not only autoimmune diseases, but another important health issue has been found in those consumed by stress and unforgiveness. It's atherosclerosis, which means clogging of the arteries, just as if someone was eating fatty foods. A higher incidence of belly fat is also evident in highly stressed individuals. To physical stress issues, you can add mental health issues. Chronic stress makes you lose your ability to analytically think and solve problems. And lastly, it makes you lose your memory and lose your friends. Calm, cool, and collected people don't want to spend time with angry, stressed, and anxious individuals. If you live with this problem, there is a way out, so pay close attention to a couple of the upcoming sections of this video. The last and maybe most important aspect to living a long life that most experts on longevity seem to leave out is in relation to you having a deep devotion and true dedication to staying alive. One way of accomplishing that is so that others can be served and taught a specific subject that you have great experience in. This arises from an internal love of mankind. Love is the key. It brings hope for the future and life more abundant. Complaining always, criticizing others and events, hatred and anger all lead to sickness and death. A life principle that is older than most societies is the most valuable one, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. Your neighbor is not just those on the block in which you live on, which most of us ignore anyway, but it includes those in government, people of color, foreigners with different religious beliefs, and even wrongdoers serving prison time. As I shared in the previous section, stress and negative thoughts or words breeds sickness in our bodies. Harboring hate and unforgiveness is one of the biggest culprits. An unknown author once said that hate, if grown to fruition, becomes violence, and violence grows into murder. I spoke to a family member recently that explicitly told me that they had to fight for every dollar and everything that they had. Think about what I said previously about the health issues associated with stress, and that explains the symptoms that this person carries. Instead of fight, replace those words with love. You'll still earn the same amount of money, but it will be so much better for your longevity. The issue here is that you're not only what you eat, but what you think. They are interconnected. They're symbiotes. If you eat a great diet but have rotten thoughts of hatred, then you're missing the point and greatly losing out on the benefits. So the $7 billion question today is, if you were to die tomorrow, how many people would know about it? And what would those people say about your life? Whether ready or not, our end will come someday. There will be no more sunrises or sunsets for us. All of our collections and treasures will pass to someone else. Your fame, wealth, and supposed power will shrivel to irrelevance. It won't matter what you owned or the toys you had that brought you momentary pleasure. Your grudges, resentments, and jealousies will finally disappear, as will your hopes and plans. The wins and losses that seemed so important will fade to black. So what will matter, and how will God and others measure your days on earth or place value on them? Well, it's not what you bought, but what you built. Not what you got, but what you gave. Not what you learned, but what you taught. What will matter is every act of integrity, forgiveness, compassion, and sacrifice that encouraged or enriched the lives of others. What will matter in the end is not your competence, but your character. Not how many people you knew, but how many will feel the loss when you're gone. What matters is not your selfish thoughts of excellence or greatness, but the excellence that lives on within those that loved you. Your value on this earth will be measured by the love and caring heart you displayed to others, even strangers you never met. You see, life takes on perfection and realizes longevity and meaning when it is filled with dedication to doing good, to serving our Lord by helping others that He created, and by reducing the suffering and the ails of all of mankind, even if you only reduce it with a few kind words or giving a cool cup of water. Volumes have been written on the subject of longevity, but one old book is usually overlooked. It actually contains the key secret to living a very long life. Within this book, which is actually 66 books written by 40 authors spanning thousands of years, it is written, "My son, do not forget my teaching. Keep my commandments in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you prosperity. For by God your days will be many, and years added to your life." And again it says, "Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation." So to wrap things up, if you go back through the presentation and take a few notes, you'll realize how important it is for you to understand and practice these 9 crucial factors for longevity, disease healing, and age reversal. If you only practice a couple or a few of these elements, then it will be partially effective, but done as a group, you will experience massive synergy in how you look and feel. By personally adopting these practices, in less than a year, I've seen dramatic results in my physical appearance and overall health. I've lost 18 pounds of body fat, began to grow hair back from a receding hairline, and have better than normal standing pulse, and blood pressure. In fact, I have the vital signs of a healthy 25-year-old at age 51. There is not one single medication in my system, and remarkably, a few lines have disappeared from my face. You have to understand that as we age, it's very easy to get caught up in a medical system that is financed by drug companies that want to get you medicated instead of getting you educated about prevention. That's the last thing in the world for a pharmaceutical company to want or for you to know about, and they will do their best to cover up raw vegetable and fruits nutritional benefits. People in general are starting to get the hint about the importance of this way of eating, but they don't want to follow the plan out of laziness, self-gratification, which is self-gratification associated with food pleasure, and unwillingness to take control over their own health. They rather give the job to a physician that has a bias written all over his prescription pad. Therefore, I challenge you, my friends, by saying, if I can do it, you can do it. You are what you eat, and maybe even more importantly, what you think. For everyone that's not currently a client but found this broadcast, I sincerely hope it has helped you to understand the importance of reversing aging, healing disease, and living past the age of 105. If you're serious about staying healthy and living long enough to see your great-grandchildren being born, you'll be well advised to watch this again before you even have your next meal or produce your next negative thought. If you feel it may help others to hear this truth, then you have my permission to send the YouTube link to anyone that comes to mind. Because in my opinion, this truth is worth millions, and this information really needs to go viral. Please provide your comments directly below the video and select the like icon on YouTube. Also visit the Retirement Portfolio Management website and select the contact page. Please tweet me or give me an email or a call so that we can discuss how you are invested for retirement and the steps you need to take for achieving greater peace of mind in your golden years. Because of this video, I truly believe your golden years will be more golden.